2. Hi guys.
Hello.
Welcome back to Tea Talks with
Meosha
and
Irina. We're back.
Today we have a very interesting subject for you.
Interesting.
We're going to call it generational curse and how to overcome it. Why every time we start an episode I have something in my
I don't know. It's tradition. I guess that's how we
What in
start.
the world? This isn't cool.
Every time.
Excuse me,
Every
guys.
time.
Yes. Generational curse.
Yeah, generational
Dun
curse.
dun dun.
Now, why? What?
First of all, what is that? Right?
Exactly.
Well, I know that there's a biblical meaning.
True. Biblical meaning.
Usually Meosha is the one who can't English.
What's going on today?
I know that there's a biblical meaning, but we're not going to talk about that. We're going to talk about how we as a regular people understand it. Which is pretty much the same thing. Which is pretty much the same thing, in my opinion.
Yeah.
It is when you take on the faith traits of your ancestors, because of what they have not resolved in their lifetimes. It is now passed down to you because of how you lived in your life with your family and the traits that you've taken on, and things you were born with genetically and conditioning. All of these things are what we are going to talk about as generational curse.
Absolutely.
And I believe each family has it.
Every one of them. Yes, indeed.
Whether it be you're born into lots of money, but you're not happy, or
depression,
right, or you're trying to overcome the lack of money, and you're dealing with how to become self-made or whatever, or overcoming your addictions. It could be addictions, it could be abuse, it could be poverty. What else? Mental illness for sure. All of these things are very much fall into the category of what we're talking about today. So I will say that I'm very happy to recognize that I've taken the power back in my own life.
That's good. And
have overcome those patterns. Maybe not all of them, but I've definitely come a long way in terms of overcoming my own generational curse patterns. And
well, you want it to, number one, right?
Right.
You first of all, you notice, you recognize there's that problem, and you don't want that to control you the rest of your life and trickle down to the kids, right? So you have to stop it. That's a choice.
It is a choice, but I think it's more so about finding comfort in the discomfort of those thoughts.
Very true.
Meaning, not shying away from it, not hiding it, not putting on the veneer of perfection, but rather putting it out there, being yourself, dealing with your issues head on, facing your demons, looking them straight in the eye and telling them, look, I know you're there, I acknowledge you, I see you, I understand that you have a place in my life, but I am the one who is going to choose how much of my life you're going to rule.
Absolutely.
I think that's the key difference. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah.
What would you say would be some of your, I guess, demons that you had to look at and overcome or accept or recognize or deal with?
Well, I guess on different sides of the family, but I don't want to talk about the whole entire family. I will just say,
I'm talking about what affected you specifically based on your upbringing, i.e. your family, obviously.
I'd say there was a lot of, for me, when I got older and I got out of the house and I started to realize, a lot of things that my parents taught me, not saying it was horrible teachings and things like that, but it was just very, they didn't know any better. If that was like certain things. And so I realized
they did the best they could.
Well, maybe not that wasn't the best way to go about it. And so, as you know.
No, what I'm saying is they did the best they knew how.
Well, yeah, true.
That's what you're saying.
Right, they did.
Is that, but anyway, I'm just trying to help
yes,
find
you're
words.
right. No, it's great. And I think, I mean, that's something I had to realize, like, oh, I thought I thought this was the right way this whole time. Like, this was the only thing. Like, and I got older, I'm like, no, actually, no. But again, they thought it was the best way at the time that they thought. And even now, when I got older, they're like, oh, yeah, we realized we were taught wrong. Like, not
so what
everything.
are some of those things? I understand
like
what you're saying.
religiously, sometimes, like, certain religious groups, they tell you can't wear certain clothes because it's unholy. And, you grew up thinking, oh, well, that means if I wear pants, that means I'm a bad person, or I'm not saved, or I'm not a Christian. So these, you grew up thinking, that might be, what it really is. And you're older, you're like, wait a minute. But again, it's teaching, and then you teach your kids, and then we started to do it. And it's like, why do we think this way? Oh, I was like, and I think for me, I helped me break that was traveling and like living on my own and going out and.
So what would you say you've learned?
That,
because I don't necessarily think
control.
that wearing pants, religious conditioning is necessarily a generational curse. I mean,
religious conditioning is a generational curse.
But what in it? Like, what in this
control.
Conditioning?
Like, do not live your life. That's what I'm saying. Is like a lot of people are afraid to because they think
so maybe guilt,
you're going to go to hell for everything.
Guilt and control.
Like that's what I'm saying.
Guilt, then. Okay, that's what I'm trying to get us to the root of what that means to you. Like what generational curse you had to break in you in order to not repeat the pattern. Right. Not necessarily the circumstances that preceded it. You see what I'm saying?
True. But that's pretty much it. That's what was something that I had to. And I think for me breaking away also opened my parents' eyes. So that's great.
Right, yeah.
And they were, I mean, even there are things like, for instance, if you're, Christian out there, like a lot of times, like, if you do this or if I wear lipstick, like I remember being told, like, all these things, these rules, like this is, and I'm like, I don't think this is
man-made,
right.
By the way.
This is like, I think it was, again, it goes back to what, and my mom and dad even told me now that I'm older, like a lot of it was just we were taught wrong, and that makes a lot of sense, and that goes for any generation. It starts. They just start implementing these rules, and then you grow up doing it, and your kids do it, and everybody just starts to.
Yeah,
it depends on what it is. But that's just one thing that I can.
Would you say that was a major one for you?
Sure. Yeah, that was definitely a major one for me. Yeah, it was, because every day. Before I left the house, we would have to, like, I mean, it was serious for us growing up. Like, you cannot go outside until you read that Bible and you do all this. And, like, it was...
Discipline.
We're very disciplined kids. I mean, and then I got older.
Where I got you. Discipline works for you now.
No, it does. I'm very grateful for that foundation. Like, there are good
I'm just saying,
things that you can
of course.
Pull out of that. And no, by any means, Mom and Dad, you did... I love you guys. If you guys are watching, I know they are watching. My God.
She's sweating bullets over here.
Yeah, I was trying to, be very careful.
Oh, God.
It's not on them.
I don't see anything, I don't know, scandalous about what you just said.
No, it's just,
But I know it is difficult to talk about family, and we don't want to feel like we're throwing them under the bus, or that we're uncovering some major... catastrophes and skeletons in the closet. So I understand how you feel. Anytime I talk about anything that I had to deal with in my family, it's difficult for me too, because first and foremost...
It's your family.
Yes, but we were taught, you don't talk about things.
That's exactly
and
what we're
that
talking
right there is the biggest inhibitor from really growing. Mm-hmm. Because when you can't talk about things... Well, then guess what? How are you to resolve anything if you're not even able to produce that which you're feeling?
Very true.
So that's one of the things I think I had to overcome in me.
Really?
Is we don't talk about things. It really did feel very awkward for us, I mean, like if I were to initiate any meaningful conversations, anything beyond surface with, and some of my family members, because they're so used to just, hey, how are you? Everything's good with you, whatever. They wouldn't go any much deeper than that, because to them that meant, oh, we don't talk about stuff.
So you pretty much suppressed it.
It's very much suppression, and it's not a healthy thing to do, suppressing your feelings, because that's when they turn into cancer and whatnot. Yes, I very much believe in that. I've seen it firsthand. I've seen it in my dad. I've seen it in my grandmother. All these suppressed feelings, that they've held inside. Well, guess what? My grandmother suffered with COPD, which is the disease of the lungs. She was not a smoker. She was not a drinker. She was, so for her to have something like this, in my opinion, was very much a cause of emotional suppression. Like, it's almost like you can't breathe when you're not able to. You can't take a deep, full breath when you are holding on to so much.
Right.
So I think a lot about, metaphorically, when you're not able to express yourself, how that manifests in your well-being.
Yeah, that's true. That's so true.
So my grandmother, like, you have no idea how many times I would ask her, tell me about your childhood, tell me about your life, tell me about... And she couldn't bring herself to tell me a whole lot of, other than something that was very painful to her, which tells me that there was not a whole lot that she was really happy about in her life.
Oh, wow.
Which is, in my opinion, it's a tragedy.
Yeah, it is.
And so I learned just by observing. Like my dad, the only time he started to share with me is when I was way past my 30s, and he only maybe shared his heart with me total of 2 or 3 times in his lifetime.
Wow.
Which I consider to be a huge gift for me.
Yeah.
Because I got more than maybe anybody else in my family.
Wow.
But it also tells you how much he dealt with, how much he held back, how much he kept inside, and all of that was poisoning him.
Yeah, it can. It definitely can.
I mean, why do people drink? Why do people do drugs? Why do people turn to all these destructive things? It's because they're trying to lessen the pain. They want to numb it. They want to numb their pain, is really how I see it.
Right.
And so when the pain comes up again and you have to deal with it, guess what? Let's go back to drinking, doing drugs, so that we can at least numb it again enough to where we don't have to deal with it, really.
That's it. You're right.
So that's what I believe General Curse is a lot about, too. Is how do you take what you're dealt with, how do you take the hand you're dealt with, and turn it around to use that same hand to where you come out a winner.
Absolutely. But a lot of people, okay, generations, right? That means great granddaddy and they all dealt with the same thing. Like in my dad's side of the family, I'll just briefly talk about that. Like he would tell me, like, a lot of them would just drink, his brother drink, and they die. It's just everyone's just drinking, like themselves silly, to the point where, I mean, like, and he was like, because he was going down that path too. So at the time, I guess my mom was almost like a saving grace in a way. I mean, it doesn't always happen that way for people, but he found his way through, like giving his life to God, right? He stopped that, and then he broke the curse.
Yeah, but I think you should give your dad some credit.
It doesn't made a choice happen to you. I'm not saying it just hasn't happened. Don't get me wrong.
What I'm saying is, yes, you were saying your mother is a saving grace, but what I'm saying is,
it made him realize, hey, look, stop.
There's something in him that had to have worked, right, for him to meet your mother in the first place.
Well, true.
Is what I'm saying. If he didn't have any makings of, let's say, fertile soil on which something can be built more than where he was.
They met in a club.
So,
yeah, I'm just saying.
I don't care if you met in the bathroom. Or, I don't know.
I think things happen for a reason, right? I mean,
exactly.
So, they happened to meet like that, and it was interesting. But he said that, on his side, it wasn't just that, it was other, like, sexual addiction, all kind of things. But that's in his family lineage. And that made me want to, like, be super disciplined of a person, like really take, like super careful, because I didn't want to fall. You tell me about this.
And that's what I'm talking about. When you get to live and you observe what it is that you don't want to repeat.
Absolutely.
Don't take it as the norm. Change the narrative.
Yeah.
And that's what you're saying. That's what you were doing.
Mm-hmm.
But for a lot of people, what happens?
They
It's
just
like,
kind of
if it's the norm, they fall between the cracks. And it's like, well, my family did it, so it must be normal.
Yeah.
So who am I to go against that or change that or whatever?
Mm-hmm.
But that's what I'm saying. When you observe, or the hand you deal with, you can either consider it to be the norm, which, part of it is not even your fault. Because when you're conditioned to a certain way of thinking, it is your norm.
Right.
You are going to take it for granted because that's what you're surrounded by, so you don't really know any better. It does take stepping outside of yourself to learn other ways, and then to compare and come to understanding that, hey, wait a minute, just because my family did it this way and I see all these other ways, maybe it's worth trying something differently if I didn't necessarily like the outcome of where my family ended up because of certain choices.
Right, absolutely.
So,
and again, a lot of people, I think, fall into that because it's I hate to say it, it's the easiest route, but
it's scary.
It is.
It is scary.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, it is scary. Because anytime you step outside of your norm, the pattern, whatever, you and I both know it. It's uncomfortable. And if it's uncomfortable, it doesn't feel good. And if it doesn't feel good, it scares you. Plain and simple. Yeah. But the best way I heard courage described lately, I don't know if I use this here yet, but courage is acting in spite of fear. Which means, yes, you very much understand that you feel the fear.
Right.
But you are doing what you think that needs to be done with that fear in mind. Because we all healthy people, we're all human, we all have a healthy dose of fear in us. So it's not a matter of not being afraid, because there aren't any people who aren't afraid. It's just a matter of doing it in spite of it.
Right.
That's the formula, really.
That's the formula.
Everybody, a lot of people are like, well, it's scary. Yes.
I'm not going to do it.
It's scary, but it's doable, right?
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, and it's also, if you want to change, you have to be that change. You have to stop
Be the change, yeah.
No one's going to change it for you but you. You know what I mean? And
but the amount of freedom that comes with it, though.
Yeah, I know.
You literally feel wings
liberated and
coming through.
It's true. You feel like you're born again almost. Like, oh, wow.
And your inner world expands. You become more interesting to yourself.
Right.
Your self-worth feels much more valuable because you understand what you are capable of. You understand that you are doing something extraordinary. It does take a little bit of extra to go above ordinary.
That's true.
That's what extraordinary means, right?
Absolutely.
Otherwise, well, then we're all ordinary.
This one here.
The
extraordinary.
Anyway.
That's right.
I digress.
No, but all seriousness, it is so liberating, and I mean, you have yet to begin like really living life. Once you get you break that curse, that's when life begins.
It's becoming real with yourself. It's having real conversations. It's being honest within, right? It's almost like taking responsibility for what you choose to believe.
Yep.
Because if you think about it, we are conditioned to believe certain things. Because we're so used to believing them, we take them to be as the truth, the only truth. And then when somebody offers us their own truth, which differs from ours, we take it as offensive because it's not corresponding to our truth.
Right.
Instead of thinking, well, why don't I take a look at that particular truth from where this person stands? Keep my judgments or whatever aside, just to see, just try it on and see what it feels like. At least to be able to understand why this person feels this way. I think if we had that ability, if we practice that ability, we would be much further ahead within ourselves. because it's easy to negate, it's easy to judge and put down and oppose and not accept.
Yep.
Then you don't have to deal with anything.
Mm-hmm.
It's the dealing with things is where the magic happens.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yep.
That honesty with yourself, looking at yourself, where am I exhibiting those same kinds of behaviors? Because guess what? If I am judging you on something, chances are I've done the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
And if I can admit that, well, then I already have less room to really here and be, mightier than thou.
That's true.
And when you understand that, then you're like, oh, I could learn something here.
Absolutely.
Your mind opens up. Your mind opens up.
And that's
it's
how you should be, right? That's how you should be.
Yeah.
Even, non-judgmental, just,
Well, there is no should be, not should be. We're human. We are judgmental. That's just part of our makeup. That's not going to go away. I'm not even talking about that. I'm talking about the ability to look past your judgment. The ability to, even if you judged, to say, you know what? Let's take a second look. I can still have my judgment.
Absolutely.
Don't get me wrong.
I
judge
do
all the time, every day, all day long.
I have my own. There's might be things I don't agree with, but doesn't mean I can't hear them out and listen to them because, what I mean?
And that's what I'm saying.
I agree with that.
It's more than just judgment because the judgment is always going to be there. You just have to accept that as a given. But it's the ability to move past it and to see, okay, this is my judgment. Let me take a look at it from another standpoint just to see how I will feel about it when given a chance of another perspective.
Yep. That's it.
But with an open mind, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Because if not, then don't even waste anybody's time. Because then, you're just... You know what I'm saying? When you're doing it with a polluted mind, with your own objective in mind, then there's really no reason to even go down that road because you're just wasting each other's time.
Pretty much. That's it.
Even mental illness can be much more manageable if you're not hiding from it. If you're not thinking that that's something so shameful. It's a given. You were born with it, so what? Accept it, because acceptance gives you the ability to deal with it more. You're not running from it anymore. It's like those demons. You're saying, yes, okay, I know I own you, I have you. It's the owning part. Let's find the way to coexist. Let's figure out how I can understand that you're here, you're part of me. If I don't deny you, then there's less of an inner conflict, and I can then better, more objectively deal with you, that which I don't deny anymore. Rather than when you're pushing it away, but it persists, telling you, I'm still here. It only creates that inner conflict, the inner battle, and it gives you that sense of irritability, and you're running from it, and that's why you're unhappy. Because you have to be able to accept all of you, with all your ugly and the beauty.
That's very true.
We all have it.
Well, I don't know about ugly. I'm just kidding. I'm joking.
I'm saying.
No, I get it.
We have it, but it's... You can just dial it up and down when you know your whole circuitry, your whole circuit board. Okay, ugly, let's turn it down a little. Beautiful, turn it way up, baby.
Oh my God. Oh, that's great.
All my dials. But it takes time to figure out which dial is what.
Right.
How much of each one I have. Introspective.
Yeah, very.
My beautiful dial is always way up, okay?
This one here, I tell you.
Cocky, all the way up.
Oh, boy.
What else? Know it
You
all?
see what I
Yes,
got? You see what I
girl.
You see what I got doing?
Anyway.
Dial it down.
Yeah. Nah.
Yeah, but
That's it, folks.
that's good. That's good.
Irina has spoken.
She's dropped the mic.
No, we need it.
Yeah, but it's that's I love what you said about that. It's so true. It begins with us. So let us know if you guys have any, or if you don't want to tell us under the comments, inbox us. We like to read messages too, and we'll definitely respond. So
Yes, we will.
hopefully this opens your eyes and helps you stop that generational curse from spreading, that disease from spreading.
Spread that cancer. Yeah, you don't want that.
You don't need it. Not in
No, baby.
Not this year.
You are here to be joyful.
Period.
Enjoy.
That's it.
Find a way to love life today, now. Hence, follow, comment, subscribe. Now.
That's good. Little segue. Love that.
Until then, if you remember, the better it gets,
the better it gets.
So if you want it to get better, click that button.
Clickety click. Click, click, click.
Bye, guys. We love you.
Bye. Besos.
Mwah.